in solidarity, etc., etc. These were the reasons adopted, Honorable Speaker, by the people of the Gambia. And we are aware that various peaceful demonstrations and submissions were done at various regional capitals. So, Honorable Speaker, before we go into details, because there are a lot of doubting Thomases around, we have had comments, even before these things. There are some who are jubilating that the EU will sanction the Gambia. There are some who are insinuating certain things which are untrue of the Gambia government. So for us to go into the details, we must lay the grounds and the basis for our position. Honorable Speaker, what we want to establish first is that undoubtedly we all agree that the Gambia is a sovereign, independent state. Section 1 of the 1997 Constitution, Honorable Speaker, states, Section 1.1 and 1.2, the Gambia is a sovereign, secular republic. 2, the sovereignty of the Gambia resides in the people of the Gambia, from whom all organs of government derive their authority, and in whose name and for whose welfare and prosperity the powers of government are to be exercised in accordance with this Constitution. Honorable Speaker, it goes beyond without saying that we here must act because we derive our powers from the people, and the people have spoken, and therefore we must act. Our actions must be dictated by the wishes of the people of this country. Very fundamental, clear. Honorable Speaker, we must also recognize that issues raised by the EU are governance issues. And every country in this world, on the globe, are facing governance challenges or governance issues. Every country. No country is an exception. And we in the Gambia are prepared and willing to improve on all issues for the betterment of the Gambian people, but premised and based fundamentally on recognizing and respecting us as an independent state. Honorable Speaker, yes, we are signatories to various articles and protocols. The Lome Agreement, which metamorphosed into the Cotonou Partnership Agreement. We know that the Lome Agreement, conditions were set. And in fact, if we remember well, provisions were made for subsidies for our agricultural and mineral resources so as to stabilize prices at the time, with a view to ensuring that the European markets, we supply their markets with our raw materials. They have enough raw materials at their disposal. We are in agreement. We are not saying no to all these things, and we willingly, and we were not forced or coerced into signing it. But let's get it straight. All agreements and partnerships are premised on the fundamental principle that you recognize and respect the sovereignty of the state. That's key. Therefore, in that sense, dialogue must not be preconditions. It must be respectful. We in this country, as I said, are willing to forego any type of aid that would enslave us, and prepared to live in even poverty with dignity and freedom. That must be made clear. In recognition of the freedom, of the independence and sovereignty of the state, It behoves us all, Section 213 of the 1997 Constitution, which is the supreme law. Any law in conflict with the Constitution, to the extent of the conflict, is void. Section 2131 states, the state and all citizens of the Gambia shall endeavor to protect and enhance national sovereignty, including social, political, and economic independence and territorial integrity. Honorable Speaker, it therefore behoves us all, first, despite our different persuasions, to recognize and defend and ensure respect for our country. Honorable Speaker, we as a government and as a people, we recognize and appreciate that we are part of the global world. We cannot live in isolation. We are willing to partner up and dialogue with any institution or body on all issues, but based and premised, again, on recognition and the respect for us as an independent sovereign state. As I said earlier, there are no perfect systems. And remember, if we recall, this country underwent a series of elections from 1994. And the people of the Gambia have gauged, assessed the leadership of this country over the period. Up to the last general elections, the Gambian people spoke. It was a free and fair election by all standards and margins, and spoke. And the overwhelming majority of Gambians are with us, with what we do as a government. Honorable Speaker, I want to lay these premises before we go into the various issues for people to understand, because if you listen to some other, if you read some other papers and listen to some other opinions, they are insinuating that Gambia is saying no to anybody, to dialogue and all these things, because they are in a haste that we may be sanctioned or other things may happen. we are not afraid of that. Remember, at the dawn of the independence, various countries have said no to the Gambia, until His Excellency said his World Bank is Allah the Almighty, and people started saying all sorts of things. But if you are with God and honest and truthful, despite all threats, Allah will be with you. And we are sure we are right, and we will stand by it, and we are sure God will be with us.
Honorable Speaker, we can remember, Gambians are quite aware of the fact that human rights are protected at 4 levels. At international level, the United Nations, and at regional level, that's where we have the American regions, the EU, the African Union, and others, the Asia, all that. Then we have the sub-regional, where we have ECOWAS, and then down to national levels, where we have the Constitution protecting the human rights of individuals. And so these are fundamental rights, and therefore the exercise of these rights can be found in our Constitution, which in a whole chapter, to which a whole chapter has been dedicated, which is Chapter 4 of the 1997 Constitution of the Gambia. We know that it protects people, although at a certain level it gives limitations to these rights. Section 17, sub 2 of that same Constitution, where it gives limitations to rights. It says that it depends on the respect of the rights of others and public interest. Where these are violated, then all the fundamental rights are then curtailed. Now we come to the way the EU really wants to treat this moratorium. I would ask my colleague to read out Article 8, just the first two phrases there, what it says.